Hey guys, this is Vadim with Max Tech, and this is the iPhone 11 Pro Max in midnight green. And in this video, we're gonna compare it to the iPhone XS Max and see what changed. Whew. Wow, look at that. Oh man, so this looks really, really nice. So as you guys know, it has the matte finish right on the back, and wow, it feels like really smooth. Let me grab the iPhone XS Max here, and like this is like glossy, like it sticks to your finger. Your finger just literally slides off. And as you guys know, the camera bump as well is not matte, it's glossy. There's no iPhone text on the new one. And wow, this midnight green color, I've gotta say that like only at certain angles you can tell that it's green. It's like very, very slight. It's not like a real green, it's more like a space gray, but with a little tint. So one thing I can tell right away is the camera bump on the iPhone XS Max is larger, it seems like. The iPhone 11 Pro Max has like a two-step thing with the square, and then each little camera, each lens has its own bump, which is really awesome. I really like how it looks. And looking at the sides, it seems like all the buttons got pushed down slightly, as you guys can see right here. The power button went down just a little bit, and so did the SIM card tray right here. And on the other side, the volume buttons and everything else just went slightly lower. That means your cases might not fit perfectly, but this is actually pretty nice because it's easier to hit the buttons now that they're a little bit lower. So I don't know if you guys can see that in the top-down view, but you can see how much reflections is on the XS Max. And on the front, there's literally nothing that changed. Like, it's identical on the front with the notch and everything. And the new Pro Max is definitely heavier. I can feel the difference right here in my hands. And here's another difference. There's actually a difference in the clicking sound when you press the button. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but whoop, don't want to do that. All right, so we're getting this guy booted up. We're gonna restore it from iCloud backup. By the way, guys, if you're getting the new iPhone 11 or the new iPhone 11 Pro or the Pro Max, we're actually gonna have a video tutorial on how to back up all of your data with either iTunes or iCloud, and then also how to reset your old phone so you can sell it or trade it in. All right, so I got the phone set up, and before we move into comparing these two phones, I wanna mention the 18-watt fast charger that now comes in the box. Finally, we're moving away from that crappy 5-watt charger and getting a real fast charger in the box, which is amazing. All right, so the first thing I want to test out is Face ID speed. I got both phones right here. And I'm just seeing how fast that little lock turns on. Actually, one thing I'm noticing is that I'm pressing both buttons at the same time, and more often than not, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is turning the display on a lot quicker than on the XS Max. It's actually very interesting. So Apple did say that you get better angles for Face ID, so let's test it out right now. Okay, both of them didn't catch it. How about now? Both of them got it. Let's go back a little bit. Oh, that time the 11 Pro got it. Apple did say it works from further away, so let's test out the XS Max. So I'm holding out my hand as far as I can, and it's not even detecting. Oh, there you go, it unlocked. But there, it's not detecting my face at all. Let's test out the 11 Pro. Same thing, it's not detecting my face. Honestly, I think that was a bunch of marketing because I'm not noticing a difference in distance or angles. The new iPhones do have the new A13 Bionic chip compared to the A12 and the iPhone XS Max, but you're not really gonna notice that, like at least while browsing, swiping through. They both feel very, very snappy. The difference is gonna be in the camera and actually the battery life. The iPhone 11 Pro Max is rated for 5 hours more than the iPhone XS Max, and they did that by making a much larger battery. I think it's almost like 800 or 900 milliamp hours larger than the XS Max, which is really, really impressive. So now let's actually test the performance using the classic Geekbench 4. So let's open up Geekbench 4. We're actually gonna do Geekbench 5 as well. So CPU benchmark, let's run it. So the test finished, and as you guys can see, there actually is a decent difference coming from the A12 to the A13, coming from around 4,800 to 5,400 and 13,000 multi-core. This is really, really impressive. Honestly, this completely blows away any like Android smartphone. The XS Max was already as powerful in raw performance or more powerful than the other Android phones. This just takes it to another level. It's really awesome. And with that, I'm gonna go and run the compute graphics benchmark. And wow, check out this difference in graphics. This is actually really impressive. I was not expecting this much of an improvement, seeing as the graphics is actually more efficient this year. So with that, let's jump into Geekbench 5 and see how these scores go. So we got the scores back on Geekbench 5, and we're actually seeing an awesome difference, around 50% more multi-core performance, which I was not expecting this at all. Seeing as Apple was focusing more on efficiency than performance, we're getting so much more performance, at least in this raw performance test. The display on the iPhone 11 Pro is basically identical to the one on the XS Max, it's just brighter and it has better contrast. Now looking at it like this, I can't really tell any difference in contrast, but what I am going to do is I'm going to max out the brightness on both phones and see if there's any difference. I just maxed out the brightness and wow, I can instantly tell the difference. No joke, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is a lot brighter than the XS Max. So I'm watching a YouTube video and I could instantly tell how much more bright the iPhone 11 Pro Max is. It looks really, really good. I'm actually surprised how much brighter it is than the XS Max. Now let's go ahead and test out the speakers to see if they're louder on the 11 Pro Max. Let's start off with the XS Max. So what I'm noticing so far on the iPhone 11 Pro Max is that you hear more difference between all the little tones, like there's more dynamic range, I guess you can say, like whereas this feels a lot more flat, the XS Max does. Okay. There you go, that is the big difference. So the iPhone XS Max has all of the highs, or a lot of the highs, coming from the top speaker, but on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, it's actually very balanced with the highs from the top and the bottom. All right, so let's finish off with the cameras. As you guys can see here, we do get a new UI, slightly different on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. We used to have this little circle where you could switch between the telephoto and the wide, but here we actually have 3 settings. Now we have the ultra wide, the wide, and the telephoto. Now the selfie camera got a huge upgrade from 7 megapixels on the XS Max to 12 on the iPhone 11 Pro, so let's go ahead and test out the quality. So I'm gonna put both of these photos on the screen for you guys, and just let me know down in the comments if you can tell a difference. I also took a portrait selfie and I'm noticing a massive difference. So one thing that people complained about on portrait selfies in the past was that your shirt gets blurred out as well as the background, but it looks like Apple reversed that, and now your shirt, my shirt, is fully in focus, it's fully detailed, so this definitely looks a lot nicer in my opinion. Now let's test out the rear-facing portrait mode. I got this plant right here. Let's see what can do a better job at portrait blur edging. It's kind of hard to tell which one looks better on these screens, so you guys let me know down below. But the cool thing about the iPhone 11 Pro is that you can shoot portrait photos with the wide lens as well, which you can't do on the iPhone XS Max, even with iOS 13. And just for measure, I'm going to add in a few more examples of portrait photos so you guys can look at both of them and see if there are any differences and how much better the iPhone 11 Pro Max is. And finally, there's the new night mode. Now I've been playing around with it for a little bit and I've noticed that it does not work in the ultra wide lens. It only works in the wide and the telephoto lenses, and it turns on automatically. So I'm gonna post up a few photo examples of night mode versus the XS Max's regular photo without flash, and you guys can let me know what differences you see. As you guys just saw, night mode makes a massive difference when it's dark, and I actually turned off night mode on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I noticed that even with night mode off, it's actually a little bit more sharp with less noise compared to the XS Max. I also tested out the ultra-wide lens and it seems like the white balance is so much better on the iPhone 11 Pro Max compared to the XS Max, which was really cool in this shot specifically. So I think Apple is using the wide lens for all of the white balance and it's transferring it over to the ultra-wide lens and the telephoto lens so it stays very consistent. And finally, let's finish off with some video recording. Now Apple did mention that if you're shooting at 4K 60, you now get extended dynamic range, whereas on the iPhone XS Max, it only worked up to 4K 30. So you guys can look at both of these clips and see if there's any difference in dynamic range or quality or anything else. Alright, so there you guys have it. That was our comparison between the iPhone XS Max and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now we're going to be doing a lot more comparison tests and videos and other stuff like that, so make sure if you're not already subscribed that you click that circle above, subscribe right now, and check out some of those other videos right there. Thanks for watching and let us know what you thought about this comparison down in the comment section below.